Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fowl Territory 326. I am your host, Gizzard Gary, and it is Monday, September the 15th, 2025. So, welcome, one and all, to the show. So, let's see who we've got out there. I see Gun Websites is out there, and we have Dale Pogue. And we have Abigail Finnegan is in the audience. Rich White out there and in here. Hold on a minute. Got some repeats. We got Alex Parlin out there. We also have Ozzy Osbourne barking at the moon. We have Scott Naring and Stephen Sheets is out there saying good evening, everyone. All right.
I'll be right back. I have to go check on something.
You'll be right back. Okay. All right. So anyway, looks like I see J Delta 22 NC is out there, starting to roll in a little bit. Looks like Ron 2A Matters is in the audience. So there he is. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my text coming through over from YouTube over to Streamlabs where I'm doing a stream. So not exactly real time. Yes, the giveaway has started out there. So the code to enter the giveaway is exclamation FT326. So we have Justin Lowe is out there. Did you get everything taken care of, Rich?
Yeah, it sounded like something messing around the back window or something. I had to go check.
Oh. Hopefully not anything serious. Fluffy 10 millimeter Jeep guy is out there. So what's going on, Rich? Rich White from the Unloaded Media channel is on the panel. Good evening.
Good evening. And what's going on? I don't know. I don't even want to try and guess what's going on right now because it's been a crazy couple of weeks.
I understand. Denny's Plant-Based Journey is out there. He says, howdy, folks. Won't be sticking around all night tonight. Hope everyone is doing well. Be right back. Well, it's good to have everybody here. Also, want to say hello to the viewers out there on Facebook and on X and on Twitch. If we have anybody out there, say hello out there in the chat if you're out there. Hopefully, I'll see you. It does funnel most of those. For some reason, it's not. Let's go live to send messages to Facebook. I should be live on Facebook, but I don't. I don't know what that means. I tried anyway. We have TJ Fishing all the way from the land down under. So we have 23 people watching this stuff. And we have Skull Cram out there. I don't know that I've ever seen Skull Cram, or I don't recognize that name. So hello to Skull Cram. So are you there, Rich?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell if you were or if you weren't. I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a frog in my throat right now. We have Trey Finley says, add me on Discord and let's play sometime. Okay. I can't do that from here, but when I get over to my Discord screen later on, I will do that. Let's see. Skull Cram says, Charlie's funeral home is just south of me. Oh, okay. So, anyway, so the subject of this stream is remembering Charlie Kirk. Real quick, Mr. Bob Dabalina is out there. He says, I guess those of us on YouTube can all go straight to HE double hockey stick, eh?
Yeah, the hell it all is.
No,
Bums.
not at all, sir. How come I don't see him on my YouTube chat? But I see him. Oh, there he is. Let's dropping chats out for some reason over on my YouTube screen. Now it's there. That's really weird. Okay, having some really weird things going on out there. So if I miss you, you can blame technology somewhat for this stuff. Charlie Kirk, unless you've been living under a rock for the last week, you're probably aware that Charlie Kirk, Justin Grimm's out there, by the way. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed by an assassin while on a college campus tour last week. And that's been just about everywhere as far as the media goes. And I think most YouTube channels have probably addressed it at one time or another. And I did cover it a little bit on my member stream last Wednesday. And Rich had a show last night where he covered his personal feelings on the matter. But I thought we'd talk about it and maybe try to wrap things up here this evening. So you can put any comments you want to on this. It's been a social media fiasco. Obviously, it took the FBI a day or two to pin down the suspect, which has been done. All kinds of information has come out about the suspect. First, he was supposed to be a good Republican kid, right wing. Then it turned out his parents were, but he really wasn't. And, you know, all kinds of allegations as to whether or not he was having a relationship with a trans student or something like that, which I'm not really sure what that has to do in the grand scheme of things. And in the last 24 hours or so, now they're saying that there is evidence that a bunch of his friends had prior knowledge of this. Yeah, so this was something that was premeditated and planned and may have been possibly they're looking at it being some sort of organization possibly.
Yeah, and Discord could be in trouble because they flat out lied to the FBI, according to the one report I saw. Told them that there was nothing in their conversations that would indicate that the people he was talking to on Discord knew anything about it.
So, Skullcram says you wouldn't think Utah would have such a community. If you believe, the stereotypical view of Utah, but I'm sure not everybody there. I'm sure there's a little bit of it everywhere. Let's just say that much. Maybe not as much as other parts of the country, but I mean, I'm not going to make any kind of comments about, sexual identity really has nothing to do with this as far as I'm concerned, other than, well, really doesn't. I don't want to really pin that on there because I think we're getting off the point. We're talking about that. We've got a sick individual that evidently was pretty much an A student in high school, from what I understand. Stellar kid, from what I've been led to believe, although I did read some stuff today that from some of his friends in high school said that wasn't necessarily true either. Mm-hmm. So it may have been his parents thought he was, normal everyday kid, but things are coming out and things will continue to come out. But in the grand scheme of things, we had this happen. And of course it's bad. We got a lot of people mourning in this country right now. We've got a lot of people upset. And it's starting to develop into factions where you've got people on the left making celebratory posts on, let's say, like X and stuff like that, saying that they're glad that this happened and stuff like that. And then you've got people out to get revenge, so they are tracking down these people's employers, and some people are losing their jobs because of this. And a lot of distrust. I mean, that in itself is understandable enough, but when you've got people that are finding these posts and then they're posting these people's home addresses and their home phone numbers and they're saying go get them and stuff like that, and actually making death threats and stuff like that, then it's gone too far. Then I think we're doing exactly what Charlie Kirk didn't want to happen in this country, and that's it. Have us at each other's throats and stuff like that. Now, to be fair, an awful lot of people aren't doing that too. I think that's probably, I'm sure it's the exception rather than the rule. And you do have people from the left that have looked at all this and saying, okay, I don't want to have any more to do with this because this kind of violence is not what I stand for. So who knows how this is all going to hash out. But there's a lot of things we need to talk about. Oh, G-Webs is out there. Let's go ahead and bring G-Webs into the discussion. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for the invite. I don't know if I have a bunch to add, but I figured I'd jump in.
But I guess my point, one of the things I wanted to discuss tonight is when all the dust settles and everything, where do we go from here? And I kind of started with this on Wednesday night, but this idea that we have discussions between factions, between the left and the right, that we have dialogue and we have discussions and we discuss our ideas. It can't stop. It can't stop with Charlie Kirk. It's got to, and I'm not saying any one person needs to pick up the ball and run with it, although somebody will try, I'm sure. But I put an empty mic on my thumbnail tonight for a reason. And that is to say that I think a lot of us creators and people in general, I mean, we all have friends, we have friends that are friendly to our side. We have friends that are on the other side, or people we know. And we've always talked about this, for every second matters, have the discussion, share the ideas and stuff. But I think now more than ever, I think it's important that we keep in mind that we can all, I've heard a lot of stuff in social media saying we are all Charlie Kirk now. It's a saying, but there's something to that, or at least it could be. So just wondering where it'll go from here, and what do you think will happen? What do you think should happen? So let's entertain some discussion here. And Rich, G-Webs, either one of you, if you want to jump in and offer your thoughts.
So, what do you think will happen? What do you think should happen?
Yeah, sure.
Question. Unfortunately, I think that this will be news of the day and, move on whenever the next news of the day hits, either instigated by something or just, over time. It might take a little time longer than the typical news story, but, we live in that world now. What I'd like to see happen, I guess, is people from both sides to look at the good and bad that's happening, like you kind of described on both sides, and some of the other things, like there's people that you would think would have not been allied with Charlie, but then posted some really heartwarming, is that the way to say it, like messages like, hey, I didn't agree with this guy, but let's take a moment and, whatever. I don't want to try to explain all that they said, but I think there's that. And in a different world, that's what would be going around social. And everybody would be talking about the special things and the great thoughts and the best things that they remembered from him and stuff like that. So I think that would be the best. That's what I'd like to see, is people try to outdo each other with remembrances or the things that he said or the things that, you know, he believed and that kind of thing.
Yeah. To your point, I brought it up last night on my show about Cenk Uygur being one of the ones that you're talking about that in no way agreed with Charlie Kirk on just about any issue, but was out there telling Keith Olbermann basically to shut up. That
it's the Young Turk guy.
Yeah. Because Keith Olbermann went and put out something, and Cenk Uygur jumped on him.
So that's cool, and hopefully people will, you know what I mean? Like, it's a horrible situation, but since it has that kind of significance in culture, or whatever you want to call it, that kind of weight, then there's that kind of opportunity for people to, I don't know what to call that. Like, I don't want to say confrontation, but, you know, like, to challenge the old narratives or the old paradigms. Even on this side, you know, there's people saying, hey, wait, don't think that everybody that you're seeing that's being fed to you on the socials represents everybody. That's just, you know, what the socials that want your eyeballs are going to show you, that kind of thing. You know, we're doing the same on this side.
Well, I read a quote from Bill Maher today, and he said, yeah, I had Charlie on my show, and he said, Charlie and I really didn't agree on much. You know, he believed this, I believed that, but he sat in that chair and he had a conversation with me. And he said, now somebody who sat in that chair is dead, and that's not right. And so it's one thing to sit and talk with somebody and agree to disagree, but at least you've had the conversation. If you can do that and have a respectful conversation, you haven't lost your way. Bama Dad real quick says, I don't feel the people who lost their jobs lost them because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. They lost their jobs because they are stupid and went on social media and acted stupid. That's one thing I have been reading today. A lot of people are saying, because you got people saying, well, it's our First Amendment right to say whatever we want to. And other people are saying, have you actually read what the First Amendment says? It doesn't really say that. It says Congress shall not pass a law, you know, restricting the right of people to speak their minds, but it doesn't say that employers can't. You know, just because you have the right to say something doesn't mean there aren't consequences for things that you say. And employers, believe it or not, monitor your social media quite a bit of the time.
Yeah, if you go out there and you say something that they think is going to cast a bad image on them to somebody who sees you working in their establishment, the Supreme Court has already ruled this too. They have a right to terminate your employment.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going on. So let's see. Scott Naring, I want to go back to something he said. Talking about Turning Point USA, he said 3,500 schools. Now, I've heard it's a lot higher figure than that have applied for new chapters. I heard it was like over 10,000. So, Justin Grimm says, every married man understands the consequences of what you say. That's true. Skullcram says, you can say anything you want as long as you accept what happens when you say it. That's true.
Yeah, it's like you have the right to say to the guy next to you think his wife's a whore, and then he has the right to punch you in the mouth for saying it.
That's true. Just because you have the right to say something doesn't mean you've got full immunity, you know. So, let's see. Oh, looky. Our old friend Sandra Vagina is out there. Possible unpopular opinion, but I don't think people should be losing their jobs unless they are teachers, cops, etc. with morality clauses for saying he deserved it. Well, a lot of them are teachers, medical personnel, cops, even
Yeah,
some military people,
Yeah.
believe it
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, there was a story that just came out today that there was a colonel that was suspended pending investigation in the Army for spouting off stuff. And there's been one Secret Service agent that's lost his job over this.
Oh, yeah, I saw that post too. Bama Dad says, have they actually read their employee handbook? These same people call for the firing of people to be fired for things they say against the liberal movements. How do I know? George Cortez is out there. He says, you just have to remember that your actions have consequences, good or bad. Very true. And then Skullcramp says, remember Fred Phelps. Everything he said was protected. Didn't make it right. Yeah, I remember Fred Phelps. He's from my home state.
Who is that? I have no idea who that is.
That is Westboro Baptist Church guy.
Yeah.
Remember all the funeral protests they used to do, with the picket signs, anti-gay pickets.
I live in a country where I think I don't have to agree with someone, but I'm going to defend their right to say it. And I was listening to Maj Toure today, and he was bringing up points that I don't want that, that people may unintentionally be siding with cancel culture with this whole bullshit. So there's a lot of people that are going to exploit this, and power is going to always take a stressful situation and manipulate it into getting more power. And I'm not going to disagree, because obviously things have consequences, but it gets really close to cancel culture, and people are allowed to say whatever the fuck they want. I don't care about free speech. I don't care about the First Amendment. I just live in a world where you can say what you're going to say. I don't have to agree with it, but I don't want you to be socially or legally forced to not say it.
So Bama Dad says,
even if it's ugly or in the wrong time.
Bama Dad says, I was fired because I said BLM was a terrorist group. Sandra says, it's like burning the flag. I hate it, but it's a person's right to do it unless it's somebody else's property.
There you go.
Ozzy said, the First Amendment protects speech against the government, not the people. Bama Dad says, he's the God hates fags guy, right? Yeah, that's what was on the signs. Mystic Guns is out there, by the way. And Skullcram says, from Topeka. So you're from Topeka. Okay. Well, then I'm from about an hour south of Topeka, if that tells you anything. So, okay. Scott Naring says, one thing Bill brought up is I looked at the time. Whoa, what happened? Oh, somebody's coming in here. Guns and Barbecue has joined us. Good evening.
Evening.
Real quick, Scott Naring said, one thing Bill brought up is I looked at the timestamp. Some of them did the post on the clock. Well, that's true. Jacob S. is out there, by the way. And Gunpowder Beauty was out there. She said, listen, it's just like everyone else. These people played a game of FAFO with the internet and found out there really are consequences to your actions. Well, there you go. So, Guns and Barbecue, just to fill you in, we're talking about Charlie Kirk in a general sense here, and about some of the things that's been going on in social media the past few days.
Yes. I have not gotten to tune in. I was like, oh crap, I'm late. Just jumped in. Had to be sure to be here to ruin the festivities in a timely manner. But going off of what you said, like locally, we have a middle school teacher that apparently is under investigation with the way the local paper had put things. So there's that.
Okay, so a couple more comments coming in. Sandra says, gun website's true. You write a fine line. Next thing it'll be like Canada, where comedians get arrested for making off-color jokes. Inflammatory talk needs to be carefully curbed, but it's still America.
Right on.
Bama Dad says, I think they are rethinking removing gender dysphoria from the APS list of mental illnesses, if you take the last few years as an example. So how do you think this is all going to play out, Guns and Barbecue? Or is somebody going to take up the mantle and continue the discussions? I think it's got to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, they already said somebody's taken over for him. They don't know who or anything like that, but they said, somebody is going to take over. His vision doesn't die with him. So it'll be interesting to see exactly who the heir ends up being. I saw one thing, I think it was yesterday, that there's 32,000, and I'm sure that number's grown probably because that number was just as of yesterday, but 32,000 different applications for chapters, I guess.
Yeah. That's the number. That's kind of numbers I was hearing. Somebody quoted a lower number earlier, but I thought it was higher. Yeah.
I saw 32 on it. But yeah, it may have grown since then. That was a couple of days ago.
That's a lot of schools. That's for sure. Of course, some of those are going to be high schools. Some will be colleges, of course.
So what's the deal? Is it like a curriculum or is it a club that they can join?
I think it's kind of like a club.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the college Republicans and things like that.
Skullcramp says comedian Lenny Bruce was arrested for speech.
George Carlin? Or was that just a thing?
I don't know that he ever got arrested.
Yeah, I don't think Carlin ever did.
Yeah, I've never heard that Carlin did.
Lenny Bruce definitely did. Jim Morrison did from the Doors.
Gerald Mirrors out there. Sandra says, is it true the killer's note / manifesto, whatever, was destroyed by the FBI, or is that BS? If true, that's ridiculously disturbing. What I heard was that it had been destroyed prior to the FBI investigation, but they were able to reconstitute it.
Yeah, apparently it was on one of his hard drives or something.
Right.
And it got deleted, and they were able to, using technology, to put it back together because he didn't
Control B.
scrub it, completely bleach it, basically.
Now, Jacob says, I'm only hearing of memorials all over the world. Some people are even claiming Moscow, the UK, Morocco, and several other countries have had memorials for him. There were crowds in the streets of Seoul shouting USA, USA. It happened in London the other day.
Yeah.
Did he do international tours, or is that just people?
Yes. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did do Britain.
He had a branch of Turning Point in the UK itself. Yeah, Turning Point USA, and then he had Turning Point UK as well.
Sandra says Jim Morrison got arrested for public nudity, though. I've heard the claim he flashed was fabricated, though.
Yeah, he was arrested for that, but he was also arrested for speech for saying the F word during a performance once as well.
Scott Herring says, I know Officer Tatum is going to step in for a while until they find a permanent replacement. Skullcramp says, yanked it from the cloud. Justin says, they killed the nice guy. I hear Milo is coming out of retirement.
Yeah, Milo has been all over X saying he's out of retirement because of these sons of bitches. His quote.
Bama Dad says, if all you do is delete something, it's never gone. That's why I have a drip pan and a thermite button set up in Windows. TJ Fishing says he is very popular around Australia. Yeah, it's nice to have people in the chat that are from outside the U.S. so I can get some international views on this stuff. And it's interesting how people like TJ are up to date on some of the stuff that happens. I guess, news we hear here or pretty much everywhere. So M. Gabriel says, "How now, Fowl? Sup in here?" Hi, M. Gabriel. Glad to have you. Skullcram says, "Really? Milo?
Yeah.
Who is Milo?"
Oh, I can't pronounce his last name. He has a Greek last name, and I can't remember how to
Is it
pronounce
Milo or Milo?
Yiannopoulos?
Milo. Yeah, something along those lines.
Something like that.
But yeah, he's a gay guy he's the one that hosted the Straight Pride Walk in Boston a few years ago.
Sandra says Milo Yiannopoulos. Is that right, or is he just making something up there?
It's close to that.
It's close to that. Okay. Bama Dad says, from what I see on Sky News Australia, they are more concerned with America than our own media is. Wow. Well, a lot of this stuff is international anymore. So the VSO channel covered it. Okay. So we got Poopy Pants out there, otherwise known as Boomstick, I do believe.
Oh,
Different name every week. It's Poopy Pants this week.
Different name every show.
Pretty much. He's going to run out of names after a while, though.
He's got it, you would think, right?
So today on the Charlie Kirk show, J.D. Vance he sat in as guest host today. Actually did the show from his office. So it was a rather interesting show. I watched the first part of it, but I didn't watch it all. It was more or less memorializing everything. So, and we're going to have quite a bit of that over the next few days. But now I hope what G-Web says is not true, that this will all fade into obscurity in a week or two and it'll be replaced by the news story of the day and we'll all forget about it. That's always...
I don't know about that.
It's always a risk, though, I'd hate to see that happen.
I think this was something that a lot like 9/11, JFK, things like that. This robbed an entire generation of their innocence. There's an entire generation that never had to deal with anything real horrific or tragic.
It sure does seem to have
now.
that kind of impact, doesn't it?
Yeah. And like I said last night on my show, I saw a picture of his wife with their kids, and the first thing that popped into my head was the old pictures from like Time Magazine and Life Magazine of Jackie Kennedy with their kids after JFK was assassinated. It was that same kind of imagery.
So Bama Dad says, I've never won anything from Gizzard Gary. I want to try some of that gun cleaner. Well, there you go. Well, maybe you'll win. Somebody's got to win it.
So you don't think 5 years ago was traumatic for kids? That this is the first thing they're seeing that's traumatic?
Oh, what are you saying? Happened 5 years ago?
COVID?
Yeah, bullshit.
COVID? No. That was a gradual thing that we all suffered under. This was something very graphic and very sudden, very unexpected. With COVID, it was like, oh, well, it's just going to be 2 weeks. Yeah. everybody's kind of eased into it, and and for kids, it was like, okay, well, we're home from school, we get to do this stuff online now, so maybe pretty cool.
Skullcram says it has the SHTF community fired up. Yeah, a few of them.
They get fired up if a car backfires, so they don't count. They get
True.
fired up over every single thing that happens.
Well, I was watching Johnny B's video today, and he was talking about, how people have been discussing. He says, it may end up with bloodshed. And I'm thinking, wow, dude,
That's bullshit.
come right out in your daily program and put that on the air. It's a little bit overreaction. I
Desperate
think.
as shit for views.
But he hangs there in Tennessee with the guns and gadgets and those people. So Sandra says, when a society shrugs off murder in retribution for painful dialogue, that society is broken.
Yeah, real quick, if I can, I wanted to address this comment that Sandra made earlier.
What's that?
Where is anybody shrugging it off?
Yeah. But Sandra said this: Milo's pretty tame compared to Nick Fuentes. She never knew who Fuentes was until Kirk's murder. He seems very inflammatory. Nick Fuentes is an anti-Semitic, racist, and he has openly praised Hitler on his show before. That's all you need to know about Nick Fuentes.
He's a frog guy, right? Or whatever they call themselves.
Oh, is that video we seen?
Oh, the Groypers.
Groypers, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'd never heard of it until just the last couple of days myself. So
Yeah, I thought that was fake. That's a real thing.
Yeah,
it's real, evidently. Yeah.
Movies are real too.
So yeah, we got to be careful as a society not to go off on the deep end and things like this. That would be the last thing that Charlie Kirk would want to happen. Let's put it that way. And I think if we have our heads put together and stuff like that, that we would continue to have the discussions like he did and have the America that he would have wanted to see. And that's people having a dialogue and talking to each other. Because when you talk, if you don't necessarily, you're not always going to come to an agreement, but at least you'll understand where everybody's coming from. And maybe you can get some people to think about things in a different light.
I
don't even think you need to do that. I think a big chunk of it, I don't know, we've had discussions about that before and we left it at that because it just never got further than that. But I think there's another option that isn't an either or, but an and that is that you can go over, stand in somebody else's shoes, right? See things from their perspective, right. And then realize that you just had a misunderstanding and it doesn't matter what they think. Like you can go back to your side of the fence and you can both live your lives, period. Like you don't have to, like you just said, like sometimes it is a matter of like, oh no, let me show you from my perspective, my point of view. Sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, you think the bird is singing that song. I think the bird is singing this song. Really doesn't matter. Let's go back to our lives and, this isn't a conflict. And I think that's another advantage of chatting with people, even if you don't agree with them, because you can figure out like, oh yeah, you know what? We don't agree on this, but who the hell cares? Like, it doesn't matter at all. Let's go back to our lives. Because the people that want us to be divided will take anything to divide us. And they know that if we don't talk, like, we can be all worried about like, I think this bird is singing that song. I think the bird is singing this song. And, they're content to leave us divided on that. Once we talk, we could figure out like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what we think the bird is singing, because what does it matter? It's inconsequential.
I actually had a back and forth today with a gentleman stating both what you said and what Gary said. One of my wrestler's mothers had made a post on Facebook and it was one of those things where, you know, she just shared something, but the thing that she shared only told half the story, and I was just like, are you aware of the other half that this isn't telling, or are you just willingly ignoring that half? And and then I broke down like, here's what it's not telling you. You know, this is the rest of the story. Which apparently I had made a typo, a fairly severe one, where it made it sound like I was telling her that, you know, go to colleges and debate adults, not that Charlie Kirk would go to colleges and debate adults, which part of this was the gentleman taking that sentence, you know, and just taking part of it where I had made that error and then being like, funny you say this when, but, and I had asked him, I was like, I don't know if you're taking what I'm saying out of context on purpose, or if I actually just made a terrible grammatical error and whatnot, and blah blah blah. And I explained, you know, I'm blind, and blind guy typos happen more than I would like, and all that. And afterwards, the guy was like, "Oh, that actually makes complete sense." And he actually said the whole thing was actually just typo on my end, and I was like, "Oh crap!" But it's like after you explained everything, he's like, "Makes sense on what you had meant and what or why it happened, all that fun jazz." He's like, I just don't try and let myself get baited by this stuff. I was like, it's not about always being baited. I was like, I like to just have conversation. I like hearing opposing viewpoints. I was like, so I'll ask questions, things like that. I was like, because I just like to see how the other side thinks. I was like, sometimes you can have a great conversation and you can both walk away going, okay, cool. That's their viewpoint. I have mine. We're never going to see eye to eye. No big deal. I was like, there's other times where you could say something or they say something where all it does is plant a seed. I was like, and that is key though. I was like, because it plants a seed and you are willing to not look into it at that point because you are so hung up on your own ideology that I'm just going to believe this blindly. I was like, then we're all doomed to be blind because you're not willing to look into that thing that got you thinking.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, and he was like, that's actually a interesting thing. I was like, nothing wrong with, you know, just having conversation, asking questions.
On the note of debate, if anybody watched my show last night, I talked about the Oxford Union and how their president-elect was one of the ones who was out there throwing out stuff about Charlie Kirk and how he had just debated Charlie Kirk and actually knew him, spoke with him, shook his hand and everything, and he still was saying this stuff. It came out yesterday or today that he is now facing a vote of no confidence from the Board of Trustees of Oxford Union.
Wow.
So I want to say hello out there to Mr. Knives. Always good to see Knives. I want to cover a couple things that were said out there in the chat. Let's say Skullcramp said Charlie's death may have ended debate. Colleges will no longer allow such debate.
Last I heard, they have scheduled even more. Is that true, Rich, or did I hear?
Right now, there's some that have been canceled, but they're because of security reasons. The colleges want to reevaluate their security before
understandably,
before they go on.
But I heard that there was other schools where upwards of like 2,000 more dates were scheduled.
Yeah, but most of those are going to be indoor events. I'm talking about the outdoor events. They've cancel
I
a
got you.
few outdoor events.
Block 9 is out there. We got 32 people out there in the audience. Let's see. Gunpowder Beauty says his tour is still going forward. That's the news his wife put out the other day, that they're not backing down from their mission. They're going to continue on. It'll be interesting to see what goes on going forward. But in the meanwhile, I'm sure there's going to be more stuff in the news the next week or so. I'm sure there's going to be memorial services. There was one tonight. There'll be others. This will be debated out in the social media for days to come, I'm sure. And we'll learn more things and find out how this is going on. But I'm just thinking this country needs to continue to have discussions like this. Whoever needs to pick up the baton and run with it, so to speak. So, because discussions are very important, but there are other things that are important. And one of those is gear websites. Gear websites is your source for every second matters, gun channels, gear, ammo ID, and more. They have patches, stickers, and other items. And every Friday is Free Patch Friday when you go to gearwebsites.com.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
All right, so don't forget that. Yeah, every Friday, free patches. Yo,
Thanks for the post.
you bet. So, that being said, how about a little reptile action?
Lizard Larry's got something for you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you. Large prostate won't slow him down, chasing grandmas all over town. Got a sidekick named George the Cat. Lizard Larry's got something for you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you.
All right. And see, DJ Play Nice is out there in the audience. So anyway, yes, it is time for the Fowl Territory Prize giveaway, sponsored by the good folks at Aegis Gun Care. All right, so let's see what we've got for people this evening. We're going to start with stickers. And, of course, we've got the Gizzard Gary channel logo sticker and the Fowl Territory thumbnail. And then we have this from XSSites.com, the fastest sites in any light. What's that?
I like that. I like that.
You like that
Sticker.
one? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I like
a good one. I got all kinds of different ones from them. That one's cool. We got this sticker from the good folks at Live Free Armory. They are, of course, true American manufacturing. All right, then we got some stickers from our good friend DM Foss. So we're going to start with the Hell No Kitty sticker. We've got the Armed Papa Smurf. Then we have the Hens theme stickers. We have the Haterade Thirst Destroyer with Obnoxious One's picture on it. We have Snobby's Dairy straight from the bowl. We have Sarge and In Charge. And of course, what set would be complete without the Gizzard Gary sticker. Okay, so this is from Civivi. We have a nice sticker. Got a 20-month anniversary out there from Ron 2A Matters. Thank you. Thank you very much for your support. Okay, this is from Squib. This is a chicken sticker.
There's a wild roll call out there in the YouTube chat.
There's a wild roll call. Oh my gosh. Blast from the past roll call. All right. Good to see him. Oh, we got a sticker here from Stroop Knives. And our last sticker tonight. Now, I'm still looking. I have some Ron Wayne stickers around here, but I can't find them. But I'll try to find it and stick it in the box before I mail this out. But we have a sticker from Gun Owners of America. You've heard of them, I'm sure. So we've got a few patches this evening. This first one is from ALG Defense. Not sure whether it sits this way or that way. But you can turn it however you want to.
Maybe it's like a baseball diamond.
We got this cool sewn patch from Gear Websites. These are rare, hard to find.
Yeah, you're not going to get those anymore.
Yeah, this is
You can't even
super
hardly
cool.
sell those anymore.
Super cool, man. You're going to get one. And then you're going to get this from Gun Owners of America. It says, not a machine gun. Okay. And to prepare you for your next party, I know sometimes you like to have people come over, maybe watch a game or something like that. And you don't want them leaving their drinks on your furniture and leaving rings on there. So the good folks at EAA are going to provide you with a complete set of coasters. Not just one coaster, a complete set. That, of course, is 7 coasters because that is the proper amount for a party, as we all know. And then we have the Gizzard Gary channel logo pin, where you can pin this onto your hat or your shirt. Hopefully not your cat, because you will not be your cat's favorite friend anymore if you stick pins in your cat, or at least I've been led to believe that's probably not something you should do. So I'm not recommending you do that. And the winner will also receive a prize from our sponsor, Aegis Gun Care. And this is an even numbered stream, so I do believe the even numbers. Is it the cleaner and lubricant combo kit? Anybody remember? I'm not 100% sure on that. You're going to get one or the other. I just
Pretty
can't
sure.
remember. So that will be sent separately from Aegis. So
I think it's the cleaner and lubricant because I
think-
won your last show, and that was the triple thing. The
So not an airing
trial
wants to
pack.
G-Webs, do you sell that patch anymore?
That one I sewed that one, and that's a color combo that I only sewed a few of, but there might be, I don't know. I might have one for Scott in my book, but I don't know if I have them on the store anymore.
Okay. DJ says, let me find his comment here. He says, hold up, I will trade the winner for that G-Webs patch. Uh-oh.
If I win 2 in a row, that patch is going on my media badge holder. So
That's a rarity.
Yeah.
Now, I happen to have a couple, 3 different versions of that patch, but that's the only sewn one. So that is a rarity. And there's something kind of nice about these sewn patches.
Yep.
So anyway,
Usually marshmallow hair.
we got 25 people out there entered in the drawing. I'm going to go ahead and close the entries. All right. So let's have Guns and Barbecue. Give me a countdown to pick the winner.
151. Spin it.
Okay. And the winner is Ron 2A Matters. So, Ron 2A Matters, are you out there in the chat? Give you a few seconds to respond. Hopefully, you are still here. Ron 2A Matters, please type something in the chat if you're still here. He is here. All right. Well, congratulations. George Cortez says rigged. Of course it's rigged. It's always rigged.
Mr. Two-Way Matters, you're very welcome. You can have Gary send those patches to me at Thunder on the Prairie.
And what
Enjoy your lubricant.
And what nobody realizes is the reason why George says it's rigged all the time. He's the one holding the button that makes it stop on somebody's name.
That's
So
true.
he's the one rigging it.
Well, at least we're not having the same person. If Rich had won, yeah, I'd really be suspecting something because he won last week. So
I'm still wondering why George keeps holding the button after the thing stops. Like, we told him that we rigged up direct 220 to that buzzer button, and like he just keeps holding it down like he likes it. I'm kind of worried.
yeah, me too. All right, so let's go ahead and if I can find my right button here, one of these buttons. We're going to go ahead and transition. I hate to use that term, but we're going to transition into our next segment of the show, our second most favorite part of the show, and that is Show Us Your Gorn.
Yeah, and
This
George
is for
said
you.
sorry, he likes the button.
He likes the button. Let's see. TJ Fishing says postage is half price in Australia. It's only 25,000. Can I enter? No, I believe it has to be a U.S. resident. So I did have somebody win something from Argentina one time. I had a dickens of a time trying to send something to him. So anyway, if you've got Gorn you want me to show on the screen, send that via email to gorn@gizzardgary.com. If you do so, please include your channel name in the email, probably up in the subject saying this is Sideshow Bob or whatever your channel name is, so I won't have to read your email address out loud. So DJ says segue is greater than transition. Yeah, but it's not as funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of pun humor intended there.
Could have a graphic for you that goes across the screen with somebody riding a Segway.
It's a double entendre, I believe is what they call that.
Ooh, have somebody going across the screen riding a Segway and have them with like a banner behind them, like
It's
the
transition.
airplanes in the sky, and it says I'm transitioning.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have something here from Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. Let's go ahead and put that on the screen. And he says in the email, picked up a TSOS PX9 Gen 3 Tactical Raptor today. That's a heck of a lot of names for a gun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My gosh.
Looks
TSOS
similar,
PX9 Gen 3 Tactical Raptor. Wow.
Yeah. Looks similar to a Springfield SD without the grip safety.
Does kind of. Except it doesn't have the grip zone.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you where to grip it.
Yeah. How are you supposed to know where to grip it if they don't tell you?
Can you grip it good? You must grip it. You know you should.
It says TSOS, Knoxville, Tennessee. Wow. Is that just where it's imported from, or is it?
Yeah, that's just where it's imported.
Get a little bit better look at it there. Crop
They're
this
right there,
picture.
a Turkish company.
So as long as it wasn't made by the Young Turks.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you know how old they are?
I don't want any.
I feel like
Chunk-
everybody's
chunk
young
yogurt
compared to
biscuit.
Gary.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Danny says, looks good to me. DJ says, nice Devo riff, Guns and Barbecue. There you go. So
I tried.
You do try. It's about time you tried. I want to check my Discord real quick and see if there's anything new in there that I haven't shown. Gorn. No, that's 728. Looks like I just got something in the email. Now, this one, I don't remember showing. This is from a couple weeks ago from Foss. I'm going to go ahead and show it. You guys will probably think it's funny. So this is on the Discord. It says California, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Maryland, Hawaii on one side. That's Travis Kelce. And then for Taylor Swift, it says every town, lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen that on X.
Guess that came from Second Amendment Foundation.
Yeah.
So I did hear another email come in. And you know it's going to be good because it's coming from Justin Grimm. And he sent us a few different things to look at here. So
this is exciting.
Isn't it exciting?
It is.
Here's the first one. It says, I am a grown adult. I have a job. I pay taxes. If I want to make a bacon and egg hot tub for my toast people, then I will.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
You do you, sir.
I will flat allow it. Let's see what else he has for us. I got to read them first. Let's see. I don't know why, but I like to peruse these and make sure that they are suitable for viewing. Because my audience's protection is of the utmost importance here.
Oh, you let me in here. Come on.
That's true. If I ever go missing, let me save you some time. You don't need to go searching the hiking trails. Oh, that does help. Yeah. I like that. Well done, sir. All right. So that's all I have for Gorn. DJ Play Nice says, hashtag NSFFT not suitable for foul territory. Wow. Guess that's true. Denny says, bacon wins. Bacon always wins. Denny says, I have a 7-shot T-Sauce military replica.
Nice.
All right. So if you got anything, we'll continue to discuss for a little bit. But if I get any more Gorn come in the next few minutes, I will go ahead and put it on the screen. So the offer's still out there. Gorn at gizzardgary.com if you want to send anything in for us to look at on a screen. Please make sure it's tasteful and fits YouTube guidelines. I heard some rumbling. Speaking of YouTube guidelines, I saw a post from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Yesterday, I believe it was, says one of his older videos got taken down. One of those ones where he was, where he plays music and then shoots a gun while he's playing music with his trumpet or something like that.
Yep.
I don't know whether they're starting to crack down more. I hadn't heard of any changes.
They've been taking down about 5 a day from my channel for months and months. Their logarithm goes and applies now the new terms of service to old videos. So it's either random or some kind of to some kind of logic, or people are systematically reporting them because they probably can just tap any old video that doesn't comply with a new toss.
DJ said, did he call them gun grams? Yes, I do believe so. Sandra says, oh, Gorn has to be tasteful. Never mind. Well, relatively tasteful. We did have an email come in from Bama Dad. He's sharing a couple things with us. So here is the first picture, and he says, "My new lunchbox," because she is a hungry girl. So that's the lunchbox, and then I need to show you the girl. So that's picture number 1. And then I'll show you what he's feeding from with that lunchbox. So and there it is. Yeah, I'll bet that is a hungry girl.
For some reason, I thought it was going to be a revolver.
Nope.
What a heifer. Eating all that by herself. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing some more dings out there in the email. Maybe we got some more. Ah,
Uh-oh.
Justin Grimm is back. Okay, this one's fun. See how many people can relate to this. It says, "I'm this old."
Oh boy.
We got a school lunch. We got the Oregon Trail on a.
Yep.
Yep.
Old
Yep.
days.
That's the old original Macintosh, isn't it? Yeah.
No, that's
it's an
a
Apple II.
Or is
Or it's
that
an
the?
Apple. Not even a 2 because the keyboard is it attached? Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is a Mac.
Oh, it's an Apple IIe. Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
All right.
It says E. Okay.
I remember that, but
A wall pencil sharpener. Oh, yeah. Every classroom had one. And then the notes that were passed in class. Yeah.
I remember.
I remember all these things.
Yeah. I remember.
Worst feeling
Oregon
ever when you had a brand new pencil and you go to sharpen it, and by the time you actually got a tip on the thing, you had like a quarter of a pencil left. Yep.
or less. Those things would just eat your pencil.
Or the pencil sharpener would be full and you had shavings all over the floor.
Mm-hmm. But Oregon Trail, I remember it having to on a not Apple PC, but on ones where you had to load DAWs and then put the Oregon Trail disc in because you had to manually load DAWs before you could do anything else with it. That was before Windows.
This is from Scott Naring. It's Boo Boo.
Nice.
Always should have hats for your dogs. It's always a good thing. He's got hats. He's got a little vest.
Is that a
Nice.
watermark?
A
Over
nice
his hoodie?
blankie. A watermark? It's just, I think he cropped it from an original post that said Boo Boo in his new home.
Oh, okay.
Hey, boo boo.
It's a cute puppy.
picnic basket.
That's a good puppy. That's a good boy. Or I don't know if it's boy or girl. To tell you the truth. I'm not going to assume that dog's gender. Let's see. Denny said, "Yep, that's one I used, Rich White, the TRS 80. Yeah, I remember the
Yep.
TRS 80s.
Yep, I had a TRS 80. You had a cartridge slot on the side. You could hook in a.
See, my buddy at
Optics
school had
drive.
one when I was a senior, and it hooked up to a cassette recorder.
Yeah, I was going to say you could hook a TRS 80 up to a cassette recorder. It had a
And you
cartridge
put
thing
your
on the
cassette
side.
in there, and maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, it'd load your game up, and you could play it.
Yeah. And eventually, they came out with a floppy drive for it.
Denny says, "I thought they had just had a new set of rules released a couple of weeks ago that would restrict more 2A content." I was trying to find that. I looked it up and I couldn't find any new guidelines. Scott says it is a boy, by the way.
Awesome.
Going back to the TRS 80 with the cassette recorder. Our next door neighbor was this old guy, and he used to always bring us kids stuff, give it to us. And he gave us a cassette the one time, and we put it in the stereo to see what was on it, and it started making the screeching noise. You know, the computer language is like, oh crap, what is this? Because we were just little kids, we didn't know. My stepdad's like, here, let me see that. He puts it in the cassette recorder that he had hooked up to the TRS-80, and it was a game like Battleship that she played on the TRS-80.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
You sunk my battleship.
But yeah, as far as the terms of service go, I haven't heard about anything. And normally, when something like that happens, you know, a lot of the big channels like that, like the sky is falling, and say, "Oh, YouTube's doing it again. They're coming out to get us."
If anybody out there finds anything, if you would, send that to me in an email. Just send it to info@gizzardgary.com. We got some comments out there. Scott says, it says Boo Boo in his new hat. Scott says, I had a Commodore 64. DJ says VIC 20. Then next I built an Apple II Plus. Then he said, yes, I played that game, Battleship. Danny says, I think 2AEDU did something on it maybe a month ago. DJ said, then help build an x86 machine. You got all kinds of computer knowledge in, dude.
Yeah, I don't think I actually touched anything from Apple until I got into high school. 9th grade science class, we had a Apple. I don't remember if it was an Apple. I'm trying to remember. It might have been an Apple II. It was either an Apple II or maybe it was the first.
I know I made an Ubuntu boot drive out at work. We'd use it for diagnosing machines that the hard drives had died on, because you could boot the system right off of the flash drive. And I still have that, and I tried it on my old Mac, and yes, you can boot a Mac up to Ubuntu just as easily as you can a Windows PC. So.
The old Apple Pros used to be able to install Windows on them.
Yeah, they've pretty much, you've got to put boot camp on them to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I heard another email come in. Okay.
All right.
This is from Scott again. We got another pup. Got another pup picture. Be ready. This is Sarah. Look at that. That's a cute puppy.
Sarah needs a hat too.
I know. There's another dog in the background there.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
That's about like Rich and cats. You could send in pictures of your cats, but we'd be here forever. You did that.
They'd be reproducing as he's sending in the photos.
Probably. You got to take them fast enough. Poor guy. Let's see. Sandra says, I like apples. My favorite is to dip them in peanut butter. Caramel.
I must be lame. I just like to grab an apple and eat it.
Yeah, I do that too.
Denny says, my cousins had a ColecoVision, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. Stickmen playing football. Unreal how far we have come. Oh, yeah. Scott says, Boo Boo is an Aussie doodle. Sarah is an Aussie healer. Okay.
I can honestly say I've actually played a ColecoVision.
DJ says, Denny, I totally remember that and downhill skiing.
Which is older, you or the ColecoVision?
I'm pretty sure the ColecoVision is older. I was born in '89.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, see.
B-17 bomber. Isn't that ColecoVision? That was the first one that had talking. That was a talking game. That was a big deal back then.
Yeah, I played an original Atari also, but I feel like those were way more popular than the ColecoVision.
ColecoVision was second, and it had enhancements to make it cooler.
Yeah.
So it was like it had more bits or some shit, or at least
Coleco,
the bits were better made.
The ColecoVision was the competitor to the Atari 5200 and the Intellivision, if you remember the Intellivision.
Maybe I'm thinking the Intellivision is the one that had the talking B-17 bomber. Somebody'd have to look. I'm sure the internet would tell you.
ColecoVision's the one that hooked up to Coleco's computer system. Can't remember the name of it.
We got
Was
Gorn
it the
here from
Adam or
Bama Dad. He said this is entitled All in the Family.
Yeah. Aunt and nephew right there.
Isn't that crazy?
Ew.
Ew. Yeah.
What the?
Let's get that out of here.
Well, hold on. Is it
Whoa.
it was his uncle's wife, so there's no blood relation. Still screwed up, but
You trying
what
to
was-
justify it? Saying it's okay for him to be president? That's why he's getting your vote? What are you saying?
What? Yeah.
exactly.
Something like
There was an even creepier picture that was going around X today. Nancy Pelosi in the women's room putting on her makeup with a bunch of the Democrats standing around her, men and women.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
No, she
Somebody's
probably
like,
needs
is this
help putting on
appropriate?
She probably needs help putting on her human skin. You know, it's like a corset. It needs to be like reptile body.
wow.
The only thing I thought of there was that scene from Men in Black where he pulls back the skin. He's like, "There, is that better?"
Mhm.
So I put a
Wearing
bunch
an
of stuff
Edgar
in
suit.
Discord, but you're not reading it. I put stuff in
That's
Discord.
crazy. That's crazy stuff. All right. So, what else we got going on? I think we're out of Gorn.
I put stuff in Discord. You won't
Oh,
acknowledge.
you did? I got to go back out to Discord.
You don't get an
Hold on.
alarm or something. I think I put it in the right place.
Not on the PC. I don't know. Let me go look.
I'm not
Let's-
encouraging it. I don't want you to waste your resources on an alert from there.
Racehorses. Hmm.
Resources.
Okay.
It's this piece.
Okay, sharing the Discord. This first one says, child labor at 9mm factory. Once a child's hands are too large to work on 9mm, they are forced to clean the toxic byproducts of 9mm production.
You can see that picture. There's a kid having to sweep up all those like casings and bits that come out of a 9mm factory.
Yep.
It's all toxic, knee deep in toxins,
Circa 2017. Wow.
just so you can shoot your 9mm.
Sounds legit.
Then we've got this one. Whoa, get back here.
That's just, I was looking through my Instagram. It's in the picture from back in the day. Most of the time, people would just give me shit for having too much cream in those coffees.
No, it's about how I drink mine without having a cup of coffee.
Do you drink 2 cups at once?
No, I don't
He's
drink
got
2
2
at once.
cups made all at
No,
once.
this was weird having a thing, and I was like, oh, let me throw a gun down real quick. So we had a bunch of donuts and stuff.
Oh. You just happen to have a gun with a 30-round mag? handy?
Yeah. Yes.
That cinnamon roll looks like a poo emoji. How big it is.
That's
Right?
a
It's
big
like
one.
it's a pretty big one. I mean, I really don't remember that. It had to be at the gun shop, I'm guessing, but I don't remember having coffee at the gun shop. So I probably went out and bought coffee just so we'd have to be able to make the picture.
Okay, well, very cool. Let's see. I think we did have some more coming in the mail now. Okay. Justin Grimm again with Morgorn. And it says how small dogs view themselves when the doorbell rings.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Definitely.
that's what Bacon Bit does. Yeah.
I don't have a doorbell, but every time he hears one in a movie or whatever, he jumps up. So wherever he came from had a doorbell.
Yeah, when you
I
have a
love
small
that.
dog, an alarm system is a moot point.
I think that's all that was in that email. It is. Okay. All right. DJ throwing some public service links out there for us. Thank you. Some people talking about Pong. Yeah, I remember Pong. In television. I remember in television. Let's see. Scott says, "What coffee?" Block 9's out there. He says, "You're really old if you know who Mina Bird is on Looney Tunes."
I have no idea who that is.
Really old if you know who Steamboat Willie was, too.
Oh, that was Mickey.
That's the original Mickey, yeah.
Oh,
Looked
yeah.
quite a bit different
Black
from the
and
way
white.
Mickey ended up looking, too.
That was in the 50s or something, though, right?
No, that was in the 20s. That was
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
that was when Walt Disney was doing his voice.
I thought he was in World War II.
Yeah, Mickey was up before that.
No, I mean, I thought Walt Disney was in World War II. How could he be making Mickey Mouse's? Was he doing that as a kid or something?
He started Walt Disney Pictures when he was in his 20s.
Huh.
Him and his brother.
And they were originally based where?
Florida?
The original studio was in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's the thing. Those, like, handheld LED games that just had little green blips on the screen that took a bunch of batteries. I never played them because I didn't care about sports, but those things I would say were more popular when I was a kid than even because like an Atari or something like that. I was going to ask you guys, when you're talking barbecue's too young, and Gizzard's too old, I think. But when the Atari, because that was right about my age, like it was for my
I had an Atari, thank you very much.
Yeah, but you weren't a little kid with an Atari. I was like
No, I was about 20. Yeah.
Yeah, see, like when I was old enough that they gave me an Atari when I was, riding a bike around town. So when they gave us Ataris, one kid, like, I don't know if the parents all got together or something, but like of the groups of kids that hung out with each other, one of them would get an Atari. So you would go to somebody's house to play Atari, and then somebody had an Atari. And then by the time the next generation of shit came out, people didn't care if you took your Atari to somebody else's house. And then we started dragging them around with us. And then it would be like, I'm taking this Atari to that person's house who has a bigger TV. And then we could all sit around playing Atari. Yeah. But it took like a while before they would let us drag them around. So for like a while, if you remember, like you like basically all we did is go to each other's houses and play video games. So I can understand why the kids do that. But before we did it because we were poor and nobody else had. Only one kid out of the group would have an Atari.
Yeah, that's the way it was in my neighborhood. It's like one kid would get an Atari, and then everybody else would get the games.
Oh, shit, that's smart. Yeah, because then it'd be like, well, let him show up because he's got, like, whatever, like Pitfall or some shit they were going to play.
Yeah, so I think you're right about the parents getting togetger. And
they probably did. I mean, I don't know what they cost, but they weren't like, we definitely.
They were expensive. They were like $250 in 1979 money.
And that's like buying a motorcycle or some shit for a kid. So yeah, they weren't just buying us Ataris.
Now, Bama Dad says, I got robbed. I had the Sears version of an Atari. It was the same, just looked like it came from Sears. Yeah, they did have their own branded version.
I had a Radio Shack thing. I had a Radio Shack one. It came up before Atari though, like when the first ones came out. And it was like a triangle. One side was a gun, one side was Pong stuff, and the other side was kind of, I don't know, like the beginning of joysticks. But it was like three different kind of interfaces, and then you would put the triangle game like in the middle. I forget what it was called, but it was before Atari.
But I actually played one of the original Atari predecessors, and it was a Fairchild video game system.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
have you seen the story of Atari? Like, the story of Atari is pretty cool. I didn't know it at the time, but it's pretty neat. Yeah, staying over at people's houses with the video Atari. Always,
yeah.
for sure.
Yep. Yep.
And whoever didn't have an Atari and you went to their house, somebody brought an Atari because that was what you were doing all night.
Mm-hmm.
Heck
And
yeah.
the Sears thing, Sears had everything that was done in their name.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there was always
That was
the
their
name
thing.
brand and then the Sears store brand of the same thing. Sitting
That was
right
their
next
deal.
to it.
That was like their deal. That was the beginning of like, or I guess the evolution of how shit, turned into Walmart eventually. Is that George looking at you, or is that something else in the corner of the screen?
Where?
So your left elbow, is that George's eyes, or is that just something else? Down. You see, like in the corner of the screen. It can't be him because it hasn't blinked the other way.
I don't see a cat in here. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't put it past him. But
Make yourself full screen. You'll see what I'm talking about. Or maybe it'll go away. Oh, it went away.
It may have been him hiding down there. I don't know.
No, it didn't blink. See, do you see what I'm talking about? There's like two little eyes down there at the right.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, it's just an anomaly.
Okay.
Let's see, real quick. Let's see. Denny says, I wish you could still go to Sears and buy the original Craftsman USA made tools. I'd buy everything they made. Yeah, back in the day, they had some good stuff.
Yeah, that crap they sell now is not worthy of the name.
And I really like that clear plastic Craftsman screwdriver like material. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The Sears Telegames console. That was it. All right. Well, on that note, guys, it's just about the time for the end of the show. So we're going to go to our last segment where we ask all of our panelists to tell us what they learned this evening. Then we'll let them promote whatever they want to promote. So let's start with Rich White. Rich, tell us, what did you learn this evening?
I learned that Boo Boo likes his new hat. Hey.
What have you got coming up?
I still want to get the holster video done. I still haven't gotten around to that, but I'll get that done eventually.
Got around to that? Come on.
No, I still haven't got around to that. Things just keep coming up. It's like, geez, can't find a spare moment to do anything. But anyway, I want to get that filmed. And then Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern, This Week Unloaded on the Unloaded Media channel. If you haven't watched last night's show, go back and watch it. It wasn't a very long show, but it was crammed full of
It's a
stuff.
pretty good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for being here. As always, let's go down to G-Webs. What did you learn this evening?
I think both Rich and Barbecue had some good points from when we were chatting about real stuff earlier.
All
Had a
right.
good conversation.
What's that?
I think we had a pretty good conversation as far as things go. Unfortunately,
I agree.
in spite of what prompted it.
That's true.
Nothing. Thanks for hosting.
All right. Thank you for being here also.
Are you going to go back to Friday ever, or are you not going to do that?
Not in the foreseeable future, because I would be competing with the person who took over my slot.
Oh, okay.
And it might just be mutual disaster. For now, anyway, we're not going to do that. Guns and Barbecue, what did you learn?
I learned that somebody took over your slot and you have not challenged them to a duel.
That's true. So, what have you got coming up?
Well, I didn't do a show Thursday because, my internet was still broken. Actually, I thought it is. It got fixed about 2 hours after the guy was supposed to be here today. He finally showed up. I was thinking it was not getting fixed today either. That's why I was actually able to get on here. So I will be doing a show on Thursday. With that show, I invite anybody and everybody to come to the show and tell me what it is that barbecue does wrong, that ruins shows, that you just don't like. Because quite often I've said on my shows, you can just come in here and be like, barbecue, shut the F up. I'm censoring myself because apparently there are small ears that get tuned into this, I do apologize. So, but with my show, this will be, whoever's opportunity that wishes to do that. Like, hey, again, that offer is always there. Link is always pinned out in the chat. And I'm just going to sit there and take it. I won't sit there and rebuttal or anything like that. I will ask if you want me to rebuttal. But if you say no, I will sit there and just say thank you.
So if I come on there and I say, I just think you're a big butthead, you just take that?
If that's the best you got.
If he's a big butthead, does that make you a big Beavis?
Never thought
That was so
about
lame,
that.
Rich. So lame.
That's the only thing I can come up with. I'm tired.
I can't do it. We need Pat in here.
But
Or not.
let's say, just due to recent events, and it wasn't just last Wednesday, many previous chats where comments are made, just amuse me because people know I don't look at the text chat, for obvious reasons. Then I find out through other persons what was said out in the text chat or, things like that. And I'm just like, really? So it just giving anybody and everybody the opportunity to nut up or shut up.
Well, Roy Munson said in the chat, he says, what's he talking about? Everyone loves barbecue.
Oh,
Exactly.
Mr. Munson. That's definitely Kingpin. I friggin' know it. I'm telling you guys, I say it all the time. Never see those two in the same place, and only Kingpin can be that nice. They are one and the same. I'm telling you.
So, were you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for being here. Real quick, Sandra says the next week or two are going to be interesting politically. It's kind of exciting waiting to see who steps up to fill Kirk's spot, not just on his show, but as a top right-wing commentator. It will be interesting. I'm sure there are going to be more chapters to this story, and maybe we'll have a chance to cover them. But anyway, that's the end of this show. Scott says, I sent you some Gorn for next week. Okay. I will be on for my channel members Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central, right after Ron Wayne with the members only chat. We'll be giving away a knife, and then we will be back next Monday, 9 o'clock p.m. Central for Fowl Territory once again. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching, whether you watched on YouTube, Facebook, X, or even Twitch. Thank you for being here, or if you're watching in a replay, I appreciate that too. And a special thanks to my channel members on YouTube for their financial support of the channel. I certainly do appreciate that. Sandra says, maybe it'll be me, Turning Point Vagina. Never thought. Justin Grimm says, tell Barbecue I didn't find a live Thursday. Thanks. Oh, okay. Whatever that means. Anyway.
If he's looking for me to post it, it probably will not be posted till late afternoon, early evening day of. It's 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays.
Well, we're looking forward to it. But anyway, we will be back next time. I'd like to thank my panelists for a great show. We had some good discussion. I hope to have great discussions going forward. So anyway, thanks to everybody. We'll see you next week. And a reminder that if anyone tries to infringe on your right to keep and bear arms, give them the bird. This is Gizzard Gary panel. Tell everybody good night so we can end this.
Good night so we can end this.
What she said.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Stream's
that?
still running. Stream's still running.
Stream still running. The stream's still running. You gotta stop the clock. Clock play. Spike the ball.
Do we get paid for this?
I don't know.